Sveiki, Kaip, išmokau. Well, actually today I'm gonna speak in English as I'm gonna talk about how I learned Lithuanian language. So today I'm gonna talk about it for foreigners who wanna study that language. Sometimes actually I got requests from foreigners, including Japanese people, that they want me to talk about how I learned this bloody difficult Lithuanian language. So this time I've decided to make a video about that topic. And actually until now I've already made a few videos about that topic in Lithuanian language, but I don't have any translation, so without knowledge of Lithuanian it's impossible for them to understand what I talked about. Well, actually I could translate my own videos in English, but it can take a lot of time and I don't like that work, so this time I've decided to make another video. Because of that, this time I'm gonna talk in English for those who don't understand Lithuanian and wanna learn this bloody difficult language. To begin with, I'm gonna say that I can speak Lithuanian language, but I'm not that fluent nor proficient in this language. As I've never taken any exams of the language, actually I don't know on which level I am, but with my level I can make a conversation only in Lithuanian if a topic is not too difficult nor too complicated, and I can communicate with some of my friends in only this language. Well, actually I do sometimes communicate with some of my friends in Lithuanian language. And as far as I remember, I started to speak in this language after about 5 years since I started to study the language. But I had many breaks within those 5 years, so if I started more seriously without any breaks, I think I would have been able to speak in a few years. I started to study Lithuanian language from the end of 2012 or 2013 as far as I remember. At the beginning I bought some textbooks that are written and sold in Japan, and somehow they are very good ones. When I start a new language, I always buy textbooks with dialogues. Actually, it's easier to start with dialogues as you can learn words and phrases that are useful in real conversations right away. And at first you not study the grammar, as Lithuanian grammar is quite complicated, so most people can give up at the very beginning. Then I suggest getting used to its words, phrases, sounds and construction as you learn in textbooks. Then when you feel like you've learned some, then study its grammar. Knowing how sentences are made in this language, it makes easier to understand the grammar construction. Then next, have good dictionaries. When you study Lithuanian language, you need to know also about its accentuation. And I think it's the most difficult thing in this language. In Lithuanian language, there are 3 kinds of accents that are falling, or acute, and rising or circumflex, and grave, which is called also tilde, I think, tilde accents. Then you have to know which letter is stressed with which of these accents, a rising, a falling or a grave. You can know about such things using dictionaries. And I suggest you buy a big dictionary from the very beginning with lots of words, examples and idioms, and of course with diacritics when you start to study. Then later you can use it forever and won't need to buy another one. So I strongly recommend to buy big dictionary from the beginning. And this is the dictionary I've been using since I started. And it's called lietuvių anglų kalbų žodynas, which means Big Lithuanian English Dictionary. I bought it in Lithuania and it costs about 47 euros. I'm not sure. Actually, I don't know how much it costs now. It has about 100,000 words and there are many examples, idioms, and of course there are diacritics for each word. Also there are explanation about the grammar. And it has everything you need in the study, so you won't get disappointed. And it costs a lot, but I think it's worth buying. And if you are Japanese or know Japanese language, then I also recommend a dictionary online which is called Jishokun, Lithuanian Japanese, Japanese Lithuanian dictionary. It's very useful as a Japanese. I can search for a word in my native language, and there are also explanations. But sadly, there is no diacritics, so you have to search by yourself. But I think it's very useful for Japanese people. Also, I recommend another website which is useful for the study. It's called Kultukator. It's not really like a dictionary, but you can search for a verb in Lithuanian language, and you can even know how a verb changes its form and with diacritics. In Lithuania, a verb conjugated, and each verb has many different forms, so to make sure that you are using a correct form, I recommend this website. The last dictionary I recommend is Lietuvių kalbos žodynas, which means Lithuanian language dictionary, and it's online. Everything is written in Lithuanian, but you can see diacritics and know where to stress. It's also very useful if you wanna learn correct accents. And now another thing you have to do is to listen to and sing Lithuanian songs. I think it's the best way to learn Lithuanian faster. While you are listening to the music, you can get used to how the language sounds. Also by singing, you can learn words, phrases and pronunciation. And at the beginning, you don't need to sing perfectly, nor pronounce correctly. You will learn everything as you sing many times. I think it's not a difficult thing and easier than studying with textbooks. By listening and singing, you can naturally learn Lithuanian, and it's very fun. And now the other thing you have to do is to communicate with native speakers. Find someone on internet or at parties. It also helps you to learn the language even faster. When you have someone from Lithuania, then it can motivate you to study more. But the thing is, it's not that easy to find someone from Lithuania as the population is not big, so it's hard to find in a real life. I had such an experience while I lived in Poland. Poland, you know, it's located next to Lithuania, but I didn't find any Lithuanians there. I didn't meet, actually. So then I used the internet a lot to find people from Lithuania. And now it's the 21st century, and fortunately we've got the internet, so why don't we use it? Also, you can find Lithuanian people at some events or parties held in Lithuania. I found a group called Let's Talk Kaunas on Facebook, and that group sometimes hold meetings in which you can have conversations with foreigners living in Kaunas and also local Lithuanian people. And actually through this group I met some local Lithuanian people who are into Asia and Japan, and later through them I met more local Lithuanians related to Japan and Japanese study. In that way you can get to know local Lithuanian people. And if you live in a dormitory in Lithuania, that's a good one. Maybe you can find some parties at the dormitory and you might meet some Lithuanian people from the local or from other cities in Lithuania. So I think that's a good opportunity. And when I lived in Poland, I started to get to know Polish people from parties at the dormitory. And I don't know if it was fortunately or unfortunately, actually my floor was almost like a party floor. So I had parties every night. So well, then I had a lot of opportunities to talk with Polish people, and I learned Polish language through those parties. Well, that's all about how I learned Lithuanian language. Buy some good textbooks with dialogues. Don't study the grammar at first, just learn some phrases that are useful in daily conversations. Then buy a good dictionary. At the same time, listen to and sing Lithuanian songs. And lastly, join events or parties and find some local Lithuanian people. Also you can find some Lithuanian people on the internet and practice the language. And now I'm gonna show you my dictionaries and textbooks. And this is the dictionary I talked about. I think it's the biggest one in Lithuanian language and it's the best one. and I bought it about 8 years ago, I think, and it cost 47 euros at that time. I'm not sure how much it costs now, but I think around 50 euros at least. But I think it's worth buying it. And as you can see, there are so many words. There are 100,000 words. So it is very useful. And also, if you are Polish or if you know Polish language, then I recommend you to buy this dictionary, which is written in Polish language. I also bought this dictionary maybe in Lithuania, as far as I remember, or maybe in Poland. No, I think it's in Lithuania. It's called Didysis Lenkų lietuvių kalbų žodynas, Wielki Słownik polsko-litewski. Actually, this dictionary is also a very good one, and I'm not sure how much words here, but I think almost like this dictionary. It's a really good one. And about Japanese textbooks I bought in Japan, they are really good ones. Especially this textbook is very good, and there are 46 dialogues, so you can learn a lot of things from these textbooks, and you can learn whole grammar from this textbook. It's really useful, and if you just started to study the language, then I recommend you to buy this one, New Express Lithuanian language. There are 20 dialogues, and it's not too difficult, so I think you won't give up at the very beginning. And this one is almost like a phrase books in Japanese. And yeah, actually I don't really use it, but maybe if you go on a trip to Lithuania, then it can be useful. And I've got phrase books which are written in Polish language, both in Polish language. And I bought this one in Lithuania, Lenkiški. Actually, this phrase book is for Lithuanian people who are studying Polish language, but if you know Polish, then it can be useful for you too. And I bought this phrase book in Poland, Linga, Rozmówki litewskie. It's also very good ones. But the thing is, both phrase books don't have diacritics, so you don't know where to stress a word, letter. That's a problem. But it's still useful, especially if you're on a trip in Lithuania. Then, yeah, that's all. And this is a verb dictionary. There are 365 verbs that are useful in real conversations. And it's almost like a cool educator on website. And there is a verb, and you can see how a verb changes its form. So yeah, and there are also diacritics. So if you have a problem with verbs, then I recommend you to buy this one. I bought it in Lithuania, and it costs 21 euro. Yeah, it's very useful. Well, Lithuanian language is very difficult, but I wish you the best and success. Thank you for watching, and iki pasimatymo.